You know how everyone's always saying to get in touch with your inner self? Well, one way to do that is to get filthy wet and make a huge mess. Your inner self soon pipes up with remarks like, "This is really disrupting my equilibrium, man." So when a project calls for full-length rubber gloves, you can bet it's going to be a bad day for your inner self. Jealous yet? Because I've got the best evening gloves ever made, okay? And if there's a calf being born nearby, I'm ready. And that could happen. So I'm gonna show you how to do something that you're gonna be so happy about, because I'm happy in my own heart just knowing this. You know what? That pile of stuff over there cost me 18 bucks, and with it, I'm gonna make garden pots. You know what? Like this. Very cool, organic, earthy, and you know what? It costs about 3 bucks to make, which is a little bit better than the 30 to 70 bucks you'd pay if you had to buy it yourself. So the ingredients are simply peat moss, sand, and Portland cement, and water, and a little bit of elbow grease. Now, the molds that you can use, this stuff is very lightweight, okay? It's gonna be half the weight of concrete. This is good, because you can put more dirt in it and more flowers. You could use a mold like this and pack the stuff around the outside and give you a smart little indentation with this sort of a shape in the inside. You just form the stuff on the outside. You could use a basket, you get a kind of cool pattern on the inside. You could use an old crock pot, which is probably what you call your husband sometimes, but don't be using him, okay? This is not the kind of medium where you get naked and roll around in paint like Farrah Fawcett, because there's cement involved, and it's very alkaline, and it will burn your skin, okay? And then there's this. This is just a standard garden pot, okay? So I'm going to give you the recipe, and we're going to make this stuff, and I'm going to show you how to make a pot, and then you can start making your own pots, and then heck, I don't know. It's so sensual, really. You'll see soon enough. But get the gloves, because if you've never felt sexy in your life, you will when you put these on. And other people may not see it right away, but give them time. All right, so you can open these bags with scissors or a knife, or if you happen to have a hatchet, I'd be going for that. And then you can make psycho sounds, remember? There we go, that's open. That's open, oh, that's open all the way to the bottom. And the Portland cement. Now, use less abandon opening the cement because it's very, very fine powder. And it's nasty to breathe because it's extremely alkaline, and it will burn your lung tissue. And it'll also burn your hands. So don't touch it with your bare hands, hence the attractive gloves. If you do get it on ya, have some vinegar standing by, because it's very acidic and it will cut the effect of the alkalinity burning into your pores. So always have some of this standing by. Okay, the actual recipe is 1 part sand, 1 part Portland cement, and 2 parts peat moss, okay? You could also use perlite or vermiculite instead of peat. It keeps it light, but I'll show you some results later, which I didn't like as much as using the peat, so I'll be using that now. Now, you'll need a container to measure your parts with. This is sort of a double D cup. We'll be using that. So I'll fill this with cement. Put the cement on the bottom because it's dusty, and when you stir it up, it's better if it's on the bottom. And if you're the kind of person who gets really carried away using these kinds of materials, it's a good idea to wear a little dust mask. And you really, see this size of container, this is about maybe a gallon sized container. That's going to make 1 large pot like that. So in it goes. and then the sand, and then 2 parts of the peat. This is really dark sand. See this? You can probably get whiter sand if there's a masonry place near your house, and that would make a paler colored pot. So you might want to do a little research into what's available in your area. Okay, so there's one of those, one more, and then I'll be ready to add the water. Oh, shoot. Okay, so like this is why you wear the older clothing, okay? I'm gonna be chewing on that for a while. Okay, yeah, I got a nice wah right in my cheek. That'll just keep me nourished for the remainder of this project. Okay, so this is a hoe. Who are you calling a hoe? I know that's what you're thinking, but bear with me. I'm gonna be mixing with this. You could also use, if you don't have a hoe, which is a highly unusual situation, you can use this, okay? Just a fork. Ah. All right, so the water, you're going for the consistency of cold peanut butter. So tacky, but not gooey. See, I'm not getting too much dust because I've got all that Portland cement on the bottom. Now, I've made a lot of concrete, so I know that you have to watch it because you can get it too wet. You can add way too much water too quickly. So use restraint.
My mother has always counseled me to use restraint, but I've had limited success. I spill things and spit when I talk, and I never have a Kleenex, but I always get the moisture level just right with concrete on a good day. This was not a good day.
Okay, we're coming along and building our low-cost Hypertufa pots. Say that 3 times fast. That's the name of this kind of concrete. It's called Hypertufa because tufa is a kind of rock. It's volcanic rock, actually. And it used to be sculpted into water troughs in England, but then they ran out of them, so they started making their own recipe. That's what we're doing. You want to cover the mold with plastic because that way it will separate easily from your actual pot. And you just want to be careful of the creases in it because it can get away from you, and then it gets embedded, the plastic gets embedded in the batter, and then it's really hard to get it out later when it's hardened up. This takes 24 hours to cure so that it's hard like this. So, you know, you're going to want to leave this somewhere for 24 hours, so make sure it's not out in the rain or something like that. It needs to be somewhere protected. All right. And here's my stuff now. Look at this consistency. See? When you pat it a little bit or rub it, you can see a little bit of water on the surface. That's perfect. Now you're going to want to start at the bottom, and the walls of your pot need to be about 2 inches thick. So you just start packing it on. You can also put the stuff on the inside of a mold, but I like the effect of putting it outside better because it has more of an organic look. Also, if you see earthquake action starting, big cracks, it means that you need to pack it a little tighter, trying to get all the air pockets out. If you're not feeling all sensual yet, boy, oh boy, it won't be long now, because this is, you know, deeply tactile. Okay. It's just really looking terrible. I thought I was going along so well, and I had a sense of abandon and artistic freedom, and where did it get me? I don't know if you can even see the profile, but it just looks like a big cow pie. Look, it's all spreading at the bottom. Okay, part of the problem is that my mold is I'm gonna blame it on my mold. My mold is flexible, so it's every time I go like this, the whole thing just cracks. So if you can get a rigid mold, that would be good. Also, look at I'm so sweaty. I mean, my batter's drying out, and I'm moister than I need to be. So have some cornstarch handy, okay? Because it's just disgusting inside these gloves after a while. Do I have any? Probably not. I'll just, oh, this is just going great. Okay, look, the batter's drying out. You want to know why? Because it's like a pie crust. I think the peat moss is absorbing the moisture, or my hands are all gross. These are gross. These are wet from last night. Oh, okay, look, I just obviously need a shower and to clean up a little. And so I'm just gonna take a quick break, and then I'm gonna come back and resurrect this. That's the beauty of this material. It can be salvaged.
When things haven't been going well, sometimes it's good to take a little time out, do something different. Maybe record your thoughts, or take your mind off your problems by doing something easy, something you're good at, or used to be good at. Amazingly, you will soon hear your inner self snickering. And then you realize that when you put your mind to it, you're capable of doing almost anything badly.
Yeah, it hasn't improved much in my absence, so I've decided that what I'm gonna do is just start over, because what happens is that the peat moss absorbs the water, you know? And so there I was thinking I was moist enough, and I clearly wasn't. So I need to just mix this up with a bit more water and just start fresh, because I'm allowed, okay? Definitely try not to use a flexible mold, because look, every time you push on it, that's what causes earthquake damage in the sides of the thing. All right, be right back. Water. Or gasoline, if that's all you've got. Actually, it's water, it's okay, it's not gasoline. Okay. I'll just get this the way it should be. See, this is going much better now. See, it just wasn't wet enough before. Now, that's the sound you like to hear, eh? Just like the back of your leg after you get out of a shower, okay? A little bit moist, tacky. Now, this part is tricky, the putting the top on, because this part will tend to break away. So you have to put a nice 2-inch thick cap on top and meld it into the outside edges so that it's really well joined. Otherwise, you get a big crack there. And then, when the cap is perfectly pert, you want to put a drainage hole in the bottom. And you can take, also, you can take a, you can take a stick or the back of a broom and screed the top, which means make it flat. I'm calling it the top, but really it's the bottom. And you go like this. And then the last little touch is take a stick and put a drainage hole in the bottom. There.
As soon as your project is back on track again, you perk right up. You start having a better hair day and even a better eyebrow day. But be careful, because if you're in touch with your inner self, you should realize that it's planning a beastly misfortune for your immediate future.
Okay, I made this pot yesterday, and I've put the other one over there to just cure. But this is at the stage that that one will be at in 24 hours, so you can see what happens next. See, this one went really well. So what I have to do is turn it upside down, and then pull them. Oh, I think it's coming out on its own. Yep, it is. Okay. There, look. Isn't that pretty? There. It's a bit of a geeky shape, but it's going to be neat when I'm done with it. Okay, now clearly this one, God, okay. It's, oh hell. Okay, I can work with this. See? This is just one of the things that happens. It's just a constant problem-solving muddle, isn't it? All right, so let me point out a couple of things, apart from the fact that I just busted the darn side off it. This will be, actually, what we'll do here is we'll plant vines that will run over this like a beautiful waterfall. So as I was saying, the stuff's still a bit soft after only 24 hours of curing, so perhaps you should be a little bit more careful with it than I was. Also, it doesn't, as I was saying, it doesn't stand up well. So I can fix that because it's still soft. Also, see where the plastic was? It's shiny. I don't like that. So take a wire brush and rub at it with the wire brush until the surface is pitted, like so. And that way, moss and stuff will grow in it better, and it doesn't look like it came out of some injection molding plastics company. Okay? All right, now as for this, there's a possibility that if I wetted it and put some of my fresh batter, I could make a cold joint, which just means, but I'm not going to bother. I'm going to go with this new look that I have because fate has given it to me, and I'm working with what I've got here. All right, so then again, I'll turn it over and make the bottom a little bit flatter using, and I'll want my safety glasses here because this stuff will fly. I just want to chip away at this. I know you're expecting the entire pot to decompose right now, but it's not going to happen, okay? So get over that malicious streak in your nature. Okay, that's not really getting essentially that much flatter, but maybe I'll use something like this. Much more satisfying. All right, now, what you can do, my glasses are steaming up. What you can do if you like is mix, don't even ask questions, okay? Go to your blender, put in a pint of yogurt, and throw in some moss and put it on liquefy. And the greenish guck that comes out of that, you paint it onto the pot, or just plain yogurt, you can use that too. Then you seal the pot up in a bag like this for a couple of weeks, and when it comes out, it'll not only be cured, but it'll have this beautiful green moss finish. See, I painted this pot with yogurt, and it sort of went brown, but it looks a bit more aged. This is very dark now, but it's going to go a lighter color like this. And then one other thing is that because of the alkalinity of this material, it's a good idea before you actually plant plants in it to wash it with vinegar and water a few times to rinse it, and that'll take the alkalinity out of the surface of the pot, because the plants won't like that. They'll burn their little roots, their tender little roots. Okay, so I'm gonna just keep working on my bottom. Okay, so this is my pot. It's primitive, it's earthy, it's simple. But people that have been at it for a while have done much more interesting things. For example, this one down here in front is done by Sean Casey, and he uses molds. So he uses an outside mold and an inside mold to get a very smooth effect. And he also did this one, and it's hard to do. He has to really pack it in there to get it right, to be able to see the flower pattern there. And then this one's really elaborate. And in fact, he didn't use Hypertufa for this. He used cement and sand, so it's a little bit finer. And then over here is one of my favorite pieces. This is done by Jerry Binks, and she crafted a bird bath out of Hypertufa. She uses earth pigments and grout coloring to make the rich colors, and I think they're just gorgeous. And then there's this babe planter, which is what I call fecund. I mean, it's fertile as anything, isn't it? It's just lovely. And then this is my very favorite. It's a fertility sculpture. So, you know, if you're in that mood, you can make one like this, only it won't probably be as good as this. But look at her bum. Is that pert or what? It's Hypertufa, remember the name. And you can even add iron fertilizer to it to get this beautiful color. So lots of options there. And remember, you can leave it outside year-round because it's freeze and thaw-proof on top of everything else.
At the end of the day, it's not the size or shape of the pot that counts, or even whether it's still in one piece. Nope, what counts is the increased circulation in your important body parts from having had at least one good laugh. And as always, you have your inner self to thank for that.